All right. We're going to move on to, pun intended, the meatiest portion of our episode today. And it is the season 3 review of Santa Clarita Diet. Woo. As always, I don't care if I sound like a broken record, but thank you, Haleigh, for forcing me to binge watch something because...
My pleasure.
Holy shit, I forgot how good this show was. Because I watched season 1 for Nightmares back in the day when we covered it right off the bat when it first came out. And for whatever reason, probably because I was busy with some other things, I never got around to watching season 2. So just I burned through season 2 on my way to New York, and then I burned through all of season 3 on my way back. And what a freaking wonderful binge. I feel like it is filling the Ash vs. Evil Dead void in my horror-loving heart right now.
Yeah.
God, this cast is so good.
They're amazing. I'll say something scandalous. I like it more than Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Okay.
I think it's funnier, although... I'll do credit to Bruce Campbell as the king of one-liners.
Yeah.
But literally nothing I can think of makes me laugh as hard as Timothy Olyphant does in this show. That. He is the funniest freaking actor in the world. I don't even care. What makes him so funny is his reactions. Like, his line delivery is great as well. Yeah. But if you just watch him while everything else is happening in the scene, I cry to tears from laughing so hard.
I'm not a big laugh out louder, but I will say that I did on a plane a number of times while watching these 2 seasons, and it was nice and embarrassing because they earned it. I'm like a fan of this entire cast, though. I mean, the main foursome is like really, really good.
Yeah.
Timothy Olyphant, obviously, Drew Barrymore, Liv Hewson, who plays their daughter Abby, and then Skylar Gisondo, who I almost want to add him to our little fan club because
he's really good.
He's really good in the show, but he was also in Booksmart, and I loved him in that.
Well, I haven't seen that yet, so we can't count it.
He's quite good in that movie. And then, I don't really love that Vacation remake, but like even watching that, I was able to tell him like, oh, that kid's got something.
I forgot about that completely.
Yeah, better off. So now that we've established that we're both huge fans of Santa Clarita Diet, and I most certainly urge you to go download the episodes, whatever you have to do, watch it ASAP. It is so much fun.
It's on Netflix, for the record. Did we say that? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we did.
Either.
Go over to Netflix. Yeah. Watch the show. Do they have a 4th season?
We don't know yet, but I sure hope so because...
Please watch it.
Not to spoil it since it just came out, but like the finale, as it does every season, makes you go, what? They do this every season finale.
I think this season finale might be the best of all 3, though. Like, this made me want more so badly.
It's well designed to do so. The creator, Victor Fresco, is behind one of my favorite all-time underrated TV comedies, which is called Better Off Ted, and it is so hilarious. Yeah. It is the same kind of thing where I would laugh till I would cry. It has the same combination of, like, weirdly silly but also philosophical comedy, where it's like, how is that the goofiest thing I've ever seen and kind of genius? I think he's incredible, and he carries over a lot of his cast here. Not the main 4, which Drew Barrymore also is a force in this show.
God, she's so good. She's so funny. Yeah, she's so great with her line delivery and also the physical comedy that this show requires.
Wonderful, and she gets to be so, like, I don't know, like, naughty and deviant. And like, she just loves being good, but she also loves being a little bit bad.
Well, you can
weird
tell she's really playing into and enjoying playing into this idea of turning like the typical like mother, housewife, however you want to put it, on its head, which is what the show is doing. It's like subverting the nuclear family.
Absolutely.
And I freaking love it for that.
It's so funny. I know I've said that like 7 times, but really it is so funny. They sell the marriage. For me, it's the best marriage on TV, and that's what makes it so
it really is
good on top of being so funny, is like, I care about them working out their marital problems so much.
It's also like they dig into certain marital issues in ways that you wouldn't expect from something like this, and in ways that I feel like most shows are like too timid to tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you think about, all right, I'm about to get into spoilers. So before I do that, I should issue a spoiler warning, but is there any other non-spoiler points you want to make before we like veer away from the viewers who have not caught up on the show yet?
Yeah, I guess I would say that like a lot of the best horror comedies, it delivers some absolutely ridiculously gnarly carnage from time to time. Stuff that even I'm like, dear God. And that's been consistent from season 1. They really go for it when they go for it.
They do.
I respect that element. I respect the supporting cast. Also, we didn't single out Liv Hewson, who plays the daughter. She's phenomenal.
Because when you said Timothy Olyphant makes you laugh the most, I was actually going to say her. There's something about her delivery that gets me every single time.
She's got that deadpan drive.
Yeah.
That's why you like me so much.
Could be.
And I like goobers.
Oh, okay.
But yes, they're all so good, and they complement each other so very well. So while she's being deadpan, Timothy Olyphant's being a goober, Drew Barrymore is being this wild, unpredictable zany, and Skylar Gisondo is going full neurosis.
Yeah.
And they all work together in this wonderful chemistry.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. So go watch Santa Clarita Diet, please, 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 so we can all enjoy a season 4. All right, This is your one and only spoiler warning. Now we are going to dig into some of the details for season 3. So if you have yet to watch it, go watch it, then come back and listen to this conversation. You can also scroll forward to our conversation about Stephen King movies. So get on that spoiler time now. So the thing that I was going to mention before is, in addition to tackling some marital issues and family issues in ways that I haven't seen shows do before, they also, it's like that whole bit with the Nazis really got me.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, just the way, I feel like most writers would be so hesitant, and most actors, too, would be hesitant to utter the words that they utter. But it's just this ongoing idea of, like right and wrong, and when it's okay to kill and when it's okay to not kill, that kind of gets in those like icky cracks that you might be afraid to discuss any other way. So I just really applaud this show for taking the chance to do things like that.
I agree, and I'll take that a step further in that I think they're not irresponsible about the idea that maybe killing and setting this precedent isn't a great thing, because they're sort of, becoming the gods of their own moral code has led their daughter to doing the same and becoming an eco-terrorist. And it's like, that's the fallout in season 3, is she has to deal with the fact that she did an eco-terrorism because she did what she believed with her godlike morality was the right thing.
And it's so great to force someone to like go, because it's not just a matter of, she does it, she thinks she did something right, a slap on the wrist, oops, like, no, I get it now. Like, it really digs into that mentality of trying to process something that you think is so right and can only be done a certain way, and kind of turning that on its head and forcing you to really understand why it's not.
And the show doesn't necessarily come down on either side, because it does believe that fracking is terrible and that she had a point, but also that blowing shit up has consequences.
I mean, it's basically a show that tackles all of these issues but lives in a very realistic gray area while exploring all these topics in the most unrealistic way imaginable.
It's a nice counter to the sort of internet age of false moral purity. You see it a lot on like parenting boards, like, there's only one way to parent your children, and it's my way, and I'm right and you're wrong, and this extends to all things, politics, our religious beliefs. Everything online is very black and white, and I love a show that's just like, nobody knows what they're doing, but you do your best.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And one of my favorite examples of the parenting here is actually Eric's mother in this.
I love her.
When and I'm sorry if I'm confusing any season 2 and season 3 details, because I watched everything at once, but there's one point in the show where she realizes that they were the ones that blew up the fracking site, and the way that she handles that, I thought was so unexpected and fascinating and genuine.
Yeah.
Just this idea of like her not necessarily like calling the cops and telling on her son. She didn't traditionally punish him.
No. But
she basically expressed that what you did is wrong and I'm very disappointed, and her going to Abby and saying, you tell your parents or I'm going to. Yeah. I don't know. It was just like a really kind of like thoughtful and touching way to deal with that problem in her family. And I kind of appreciated that beat.
I find it really it's a nice reflection on the characters too, because like her son is a genius and is like, there's no, whatever the regular punishment would be, I feel like would only just hold him back from his own talents.
Yeah.
And from his future. So it's like, oh, well, I'm taking you out of this club you love or something, which is maybe a typical punishment procedure. Or I am telling the police. Well, there goes his whole life. So she did it in her own loving way, and I love that she's like, I hate having to be serious, Mom. Don't you ever make me do this again.
Because she says it in a way that makes you laugh, but like makes you believe in that statement. It's like, I don't want her to be serious, Mom, again either.
I want her to go to Pilates.
Keep your shit together, Eric.
Explore her bisexuality and live her best life.
What? Okay, here's one thing. What happened to Anne? Like, did she just disappear?
Oh,
it felt like we lost her a little prematurely in season 3.
I have a theory that actress was needed elsewhere.
Really?
Because it does happen really abruptly. But what happens is basically Sheila is like, cool it. I am not an agent of God.
And then she's just gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like no explanation for her disappearance beside the breakup.
Yes. And that she maybe wouldn't want to be dating the neighbor of the person she thinks is an agent of God, who she thinks needs to have a spiritual awakening.
I think they, bullet point wise, smooth it out enough that it makes enough sense. But I did feel the void that Anne left behind.
No, I
especially the way they were teeing her up the whole first half of the season.
That's why my theory is maybe that actress. I haven't looked at her IMDb, so I could be making that up completely. But
Natalie Morales, she's very good, by the way.
She is very good. And she's a fun... Also, there's a possibility, though, like, because she is a fun element on the show, but there's a possibility that they just did what they were going to do with that character to a certain extent, because she was sort of this, like, hovering force of menace for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then they did their full crazy, twist at the end of season 2. And if you keep... I don't know, could be a long lead setup, but if you just keep her having... After turning her into a religious fanatic, you can only beat that drum so hard before it's like, to me at least.
Bring her back next season and turn it around or something.
Because she has started this cult of Sheila, which seems like it will have long-term ramifications.
Or does the cult of Sheila now apply to her search and rescue trio? Which is what I think the last title was implying. And oh my God, what a payoff.
Love it.
What a payoff. That was so satisfying. Oh, God, this show just gets me. Another question I had for you, though, was, and I wonder if this affected me a little more because of binging season 2 and 3, basically in a straight shot, was how'd you feel about the character switch, the actor switch with Gary?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a bummer, but I get it. You can't... I think it's better to keep the character and change the voice than lose that element of the show.
I'm right there with you. And it, in a similar fashion to the Anne thing, I think they bullet point explanationed it enough that it seems semi-reasonable. So that, like, at least from, like, a fact standpoint, I kind of bought it.
Yeah.
And I also still loved the character, so I guess that helped.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's so fun to have around, to have, especially the way they take Gary this season. And that's another example of this show is, like, not here to tell you your morals, because if you remember, he's like a sexual predator when she kills him, and that's why she kills him.
Yeah.
And now that he only has a head, he's a much better almost person.
Yeah, I would say so. He's a great business associate.
Yes.
I also got the biggest freaking kick out of Mr. Balllegs.
Oh, I love
Mr. Balllegs might be like an unsung hero of the show to me. I just thought that was the funniest thing. And when Joel opts, I also love that Tommy calls Joel Joel.
Oh my
gosh. Like that will
why
never stop being funny to me.
Oh, and I think... Oh, why did I just forget? I think Alan Tudyk is doing Gary now.
Yes, he is.
So that's like a great, even if you're a huge fan.
Passing of the baton.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that was just a thing, though? Like, that'd be a really interesting touch if they just passed the Gary baton to somebody.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I would kind of be open to that experiment, even though I did really like Alan Tudyk in the role.
Well, I love Alan Tudyk and everything, and I love Nathan Fillion and everything, but I do like that they had this fun, like, you know, for Firefly fans or for Con Man fans, all of the Con Man fans. That's a fun follow-up. At least they didn't cast it with somebody you don't know, you know?
Yeah. And it was a nice touch when I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it's Alan Tudyk.
And it's a nice addition to Alan Tudyk's resume as the voice guy who does everything. Yeah,
no, that's true. I mean, if you need someone to fill a gap like that, he is the guy to get. I also really enjoy Ron. Ron is, like, so grating, but he is somehow, like, weaseled his way into my heart, and it's driving me nuts because I can't, like, really pinpoint why.
It's that actor's gift. Jonathan Slavin, he was on Better Off Ted. He was one of my favorite characters. He doesn't play a full-on lunatic, but he plays a similarly aggressively neurotic character. And he's super
very,
gifted.
very good at it.
Yes. Like, he should be so annoying, and yet somehow you love.
No, I really do love.
Yeah, I love all of that trio of sort of the new cult of Sheila,
Yeah.
I guess we'll call it, as opposed to Anne's cult of Sheila.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Going back to some of the main characters, though, I love the way they're exploring the relationship between Eric and Abbey.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating. And just so, like, nothing like teen relationships on TV or in movies that I've ever seen before, where it's like really respecting their friendship and the pressure of introducing like real romantic feelings that I really do believe they both had, but basically trying to get into that territory in the most like respectful way possible, where they're never gonna get too awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of love this like tiptoeing dance they're doing around each other, and then where it ends. Like when she crawls into bed with
so
him,
sweet.
my heart. Oh my God.
And who isn't rooting for him? Like,
I know.
because he's the best.
He's so good.
And I think they've done an incredible job of sort of paralleling Joel and Sheila with Eric and Abbey, and that they're like neurotic goober guys, and they're way more aggressive, assertive, get shit done lady counterparts, which makes you root for them even more because you see how great Joel and Sheila are together.
Yeah. It's so nice to see pairings like that you can just root for, but also feel so different from anything I've seen before.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with how they're growing the characters and the situation overall.
I remember, like, I don't think about this as much because it's 3 seasons in, but I do remember seeing the first season and being like, whoa, this is a family who kind of talks to each other the way my family does. Like, we swear at each other, but very lovingly.
No, we really do too.
Yeah. Like, we keep it very honest, and, like, I can be a bit like the sassy daughter and really put my parents in their places, certainly when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And they bring it right back at me. And it's like, it's great. And it's
I
nice
enjoy
to
that dynamic.
to see that, because usually I do not relate to families in film and TV at all. I'm like, that's nothing like how we behave.
Well, I feel like, like usually it's like too perfect.
Yeah.
Like too like quintessential Hollywood, or it's some sort of,
The
I
other
don't know,
one,
like outlandish melodrama.
yeah, which is definitely not our thing. We would just as soon flip each other off and be like, let's talk about this later. The other one was a movie I didn't actually love, but 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, the mother and son also had that like really rough but loving. Ours is much less melodramatic and traumatic, but that same sort of rough communication but loving.
Yeah, their communication is hilarious, and I kind of love it. Also, it's like Abby has that dynamic with them where she kind of never lets them win, or never lets them, basically, she never like applauds them for doing something right. So when she does have one of those moments, it means so much more.
I know. I love when she's like, I don't know why I'm so mean to you. And she's like, I know, I'm awesome.
It just makes those moments mean even more. In addition to just the family and how they're exploring their behavior and their arcs and everything and their relationships, I also really just love how they're expanding this world. The zombie world building, or should I say undead world building. It's just, I don't know, I guess at the end of season 1, I do remember thinking, like, how are they going to grow this? And I guess it's because, I don't want to throw Walking Dead under the bus, but I kind of have to, because I invested so many hours of my life into that show, and it felt like it kept going in circles and never building. And there's such great potential with really any kind of supernatural idea to really flesh out a world like this. And they've just taken so many twists and turns in Santa Clarita Diet that, 1, make enough sense to me, 2, are a lot of fun to explore, and 3, are just like, again, really interesting and things I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think maybe part of it is that because they allow themselves to be as silly as possible, they can do whatever they want, and it pays off. Like Mr. Ballegs is not a thing.
Oh my God.
You would ever see on The Walking Dead or Z Nation or any other zombie show.
Mr. Ballegs.
And I love that. I love that they keep, because they don't actually give that many fucks about the mythology in the show. It's sort of very slowly added on. But really, I wrote about this in my review on the .com. I find that, from my perspective, Victor Fresco is more interested in the mythology as a means to introduce new types of weird characters. Like, he doesn't really care about the Knights of Serbia so much as who are the weirdos that sign up for the Knights of Serbia. That's what he's interested in.
And that's what I find more interesting. It's like, I don't really care about the ins and outs of that organization, but
just knowing that it exists.
Yeah, I find the character explorations of how someone gets involved far more fun to watch.
Or like we still don't know what Mr. Balllegs is or what he does, but the season just kind of casually let us know that he's covered in ice.
Yeah, I like that. And he's got like a little agenda, and he's got allegiances, and the idea of not being separated from his human or his undead.
I
want more of this show.
I need it.
Haleigh, how can you let me get so into these shows that are eventually binged and then taken away?
Well, hopefully they will not take it away. I pray. I mean, I
need more now, though.
The cast probably isn't cheap, but hopefully it gets...
I don't know, but they're like, aren't they executive producers on the show? Doesn't that create like a different level of involvement?
Maybe
dedication?
so.
Please, Drew Barrymore, Timothy Olyphant, please keep making more.
It's so
God,
good.
I am so whiny right now. I can't handle it.
Please.
All right, now we are going to move on.
One quick thing.
Oh boy,
couldn't let it go.
Let's hear it.
Drew Barrymore's hair and nails and makeup in this show, rock.
Particularly in season 3.
Yeah.
I feel like season 2, and this is, again, probably a result of me having watched them back to back, she had like a little like the messy do with the flyaways and everything, and it was fine. She still looked great. She always looks great. Something about her look in season 3, maybe it's also because like she's really coming into her undead self and like owning it. I don't know. She looked like a badass the whole time.
Great. And I know that Drew Barrymore is kind of like a bit of a fashionista and a makeup guru type person. She loves the YouTubers and all that. And I like seeing her put that passion into this character.
I like that too.